Welcome to the first Briefs podcast, Trade Unblocked, Building Seamless Trade in a Fragmented Region. You can ship goods from Delhi to Dhaka, but it might take 5 days, five agencies, and multiple signatures to get there. Why? Because we've built routes, but not system. I'm glad to introduce the speaker that will be joining us, Afaq Hussain, who's the Director of Bureau of Research on Industry and Economic Fundamentals. He's a co-founder and director of Brief, which is based out of in New Delhi. He's also the non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council. With 20 years of experience in international trade, logistics, and policy consulting, he advises institutions like World Bank, ADB, GIZ. He has led key assignments even for the Indian Ministry of Commerce, Niti Aayog, and Land Ports Authority. A US IVLP alumnus, his work blends field-driven research with actionable policy insights. He has authored influential reports and is currently working on the IMEC corridor. He is a recognized voice in shaping India's trade and logistics reform. Welcome, sir. On to you, sir.
Thank you, Smriti. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. So today we are primarily talking about trade connectivity and trade facilitation. So, I'd just like to start by saying, at Brief, we've tried to understand why trade slows down after infrastructure is built through various reports. So, could you share some key insights that you've learned during your experience and the researches that has been conducted by Brief?
Trade is a mere moving of goods from one place to another, from one country to another. It sounds very simple, but there are a lot of complexities involved in it beyond infrastructure. There are requirements beyond a road or a rail or an air connection that are needed to ensure smooth and streamlined trade. And that's what we call the systems. We may build a road, we may build the hard infrastructure, but we may still face challenges in smooth trade because we may not still have smooth transaction of documents, payments, and there's a concept called non-tariff barriers that has been hindering trade between the countries. So just the building of hard infrastructure may not suffice. It's the building of the whole ecosystem, not just building of the whole ecosystem, but coordination among the various stakeholders to exchange information, to exchange data that will ensure smooth and streamlined trade between the two countries.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I think just drawing from your points where you said that it's not just forms or it's not just road, rail, but it's rather a system. So there are forms but we can see that it can't be read across borders. A good infrastructure doesn't mean better connectivity, sir. So can you say why physical connectivity has outpaced institutional or digital coordination, sir? What are your key learnings from that you see around in the South Asia region or on a regional level? What do you think, sir, about it?
Mentioned earlier, a seamless connectivity is ensured by physical infrastructure as well as digital infrastructure. And India as a country, when the focus on trade facilitation, building connectivity, building infrastructure started somewhere around 2014, the priority has been physical infrastructure first. You need to build a road first. Then you think of the tertiary and the secondary infrastructure, which is the digital infrastructure. So which is quite understood. So we first build the road, we develop the physical infrastructure, and then we go on the digital part of it. That would be the reason why you feel that physical infrastructure has outpaced the digital infrastructure. Having said that, we have started the digital infrastructure. If I look at South Asia as such, yes, we don't have a digital infrastructure in place, especially at our land borders, because most of our neighborhood, we share land borders with them. There is no common digital platform that exists at our land borders as of now. Yes, there are reports that it is being built by Land Ports Authority of India, which would be land port management system, which would be a single multi-stakeholder digital platform where all the stakeholders will be onboarded and they will exchange information to make sure that trade is smooth and streamlined, and which will complement the amazing infrastructure that exists at our integrated checkposts, which has been built by Land Ports Authority of India across the land border with Nepal, with Bangladesh, with Myanmar, with Pakistan, and with more checkposts in the pipeline with Bhutan as well as Bangladesh. So it will eventually create an ecosystem where we have physical infrastructure as well as digital infrastructure. But as of now, we have a very decent physical infrastructure, but a lot of work to be done in terms of digital infrastructure, particularly at our land borders. While the maritime trade, there are a lot of developments that have happened in terms of digital infrastructure. We have ULIP coming in, which is a unified logistics interface platform, and other digital port community system, which was built by Indian Port Association a few years back, which did streamline. And then the stakeholders, the container freight stations, the terminal operators, the shipping lines, they're all global players. And they have global standards, they have global systems in place. So they build that, they use those platforms at the maritime ports. But unfortunately, they're all working in silos. A Maersk shipping line have their own system. The container freight station Hind terminals in Mumbai will have their own system. A terminal operator, DP World have their own system. So for a trader, it becomes a difficult thing to navigate all the digital platforms individually. So that's why we needed a unified platform which houses all the stakeholders in terms of digital platform.
Yes, sir. Thank
Things
you.
are working in that direction. I must say things are working in that direction, especially in the maritime trade. So hopefully we'll have that in place in a few years.
As mentioned, I think yes, we are still fragmented, but yes, we are progressing towards it. Even when it comes to with digitization, I think there's been a lot of progress throughout the years, especially on a regional scale as well. Just going forward in regards to this, sir, what are the three biggest problems that you've identified during your research when it comes to trade connectivity? One, ideally, as you mentioned, sir, digitization. But what are the other problems that we can observe? Could you just state three biggest problems that you're facing that when it comes to trade that we're facing? Could you just share those, sir? As mentioned,
If I look at the regional level,
yes, sir.
if I look at South Asia as a region, I think one of the biggest challenges over the years has been our connectivity. Uh, and when I say connectivity, it's not just about building roads, it's about the multimodal connectivity. It's about seamless connectivity. Because when you're moving from Bhutan to India to Bangladesh, because there are those we offer, there are transits in between. So we have not been able to have that seamless connectivity for transits within the region. And multimodal connectivity, we have had some agreements with Bangladesh on use of waters and ports. Those have started, those agreements have been done, but unfortunately the it has not kicked off that seriously. The railway connectivity has been, some projects have been planned, some projects have been completed, but again, it's not come at a regional level to really make a seamless multimodal connectivity within the region. That's I think one big challenge, and also standardization of procedures across ports. One port, and this problem, this challenge is across. It's not only for land port, it's been observed in maritime ports also. There is a system that exists in one port, in for example in JNPT, but that may not be available in a port like Kochi or in Vishakhapatnam or in Kolkata. So we have had those inconsistencies in the procedures and the systems that have been put in place. And the third challenge that I see presently is also the lack of coordination among the stakeholders, the exchange of information among the stakeholders. When my truck comes to the port, they should have information in advance that I am there. It should be with the terminals also. It should be with so that seamless exchange of information, which is linked to digitization. Once the digital platforms are talking to each other, I think that's when this seamless exchange of information and exchange of messages will also happen. For example, customs, we have IceGate as a customs. It does not exchange information seamlessly with other stakeholders. Just one example. So this is another, that lack of coordination is another thing. digitization, we've already spoken a lot about it, so I'm not touching on that. So these are some of the challenges that still exist. And if I look at the domestic transportation in the country, I think we're too much dependent on road. Some data say that 60 to 65% of the domestic cargo moves through road, while it should ideally be much lesser. And by rail, we are moving around 20% of cargo is moving by rail. While rail can be more efficient in terms of in terms of cost, but because of the first and last mile connectivity problems that are attached to railways, it has not been used fully. It is not being used fully. People still find road as a convenient mode of transportation, even if it may be a bit expensive also. So those are some of the things. And then lastly, I think there are a lot of conversations that are happening on the logistics cost. So yeah, that's another thing. Maybe a more efficient logistics system would hopefully reduce the cost of logistics also in the country.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I think that brought in a lot of clarity as well. So, just to add on, just a leading question to your pointers that you've mentioned, is it also because there's a lack of autonomy when there's no autonomous governance when it comes to all these ports? Because of that, there is problems when it comes to standardization. There's more time taken when it comes to clearance. Could you also speak in regards to that as well?
How the port structure exists in India, if I talk about the maritime ports,
Yes.
we have 13 major ports which handle bulk of the cargo in the country, and those come directly under the central government. So there's one authority, which is Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, that handles those 13 major ports. Then there are these more than 200 non-major ports which are handled by the respective state governments or state maritime boards. So if you look at the major ports, because till very recently, I think till a decade back, our major ports were handling bulk of the cargo. So when it comes to procedures, when it comes to standardization of systems and everything, so there was one authority which would handle that, which is the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. And when it comes to clearances, there is always one authority, which is customs. The clearance is the prerogative of customs, and which is a single authority across the country. Having said that, the clearance time varies because each port is different. Commodities are different. Some commodities may require checks, some commodities require clearance testings and all, while some come under a free trade or a preferential trade agreement. You may not require much checks. Some do not even require duty payment also if it is a zero tariff commodity. So the times vary, keeping in mind clearance time varies, keeping in mind those aspects, the type of commodity, the port where it is operating, and also there are two commodities. One is the containerized cargo, the other is a bulk cargo. So in that also time varies. So it cannot be standardized in terms of time. But having said that, the systems, when I said standardization of processes, I understand each port is unique. I don't mean that you can have standard processes across, but the systems. If there is some document which is moving online in one port, the same document should move online in other port also. Because during my field visits, I do observe that certain documents, some authorities accept online in one port, but in another port, you need to submit the hard copy. That's what I mean when I said standardization. But yes, each port is unique, infrastructure is unique, mechanization levels are unique. So there would be variations, but the systems that are in place in one port should be replicated in other ports also.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Since we are talking about ensuring that it's a unified one ecosystem, what are three recommendations that you would give to make sure that logistics operate like one ecosystem? There's just one system that helps trade to be much better, growing at a much advanced rate, sir.
See, a unified, when we talk of digitization, I've observed in my research over the years that whenever a system is built and then we try to review the system after that, I've seen there have been three problems that we have identified, which we need to work on. One is that sometimes a critical functionality gets missed. I built a system. I remember in one of the systems, it was built with a lot of fanfare, but there was one critical thing which got missed. So that document was supposed to be carried in hard copy, which made the whole system not fully seamless. So that's one. So missing out on a critical function. So what we need to do is before we actually build a system, we need to get all the stake. We should not miss out on any stakeholder to ensure that all the functionalities are there in my system. Make these stakeholders part of the UAE, that user interface test that we do before it is made live. So that I think that is something more part of a planning stage where you need to make sure that you're not missing out on any critical functionality. The second part is that my systems are not talking to each other. So that has been another problem in our digital ecosystem, that I issue an LEO, which is let export order, or an out of charge from the customs, but it is not automatically transferred to the terminal operator. Till the time it doesn't get automatically transferred to the terminal operator will not let my container move out. So I have to take a printout of that or an email of that OC or LEO as we call it, then transfer it to the terminal operator. Then they will verify and then they will let my cargo move out. Ideally, it should just move within the systems. I've clicked on this and it should go there. There were conversations that it will start, it is happening at some places. But yeah, this is just an example, which I observed quite some time back at the ports. So that's another thing. So our systems don't engage with each other. And the third one is the capacity building. The people who have to use those systems, the capacity building and the trainings need to be there. They need to, so the trainings and capacity buildings need to be to the level when they are able to maximize the benefits that these systems come. The speed is ensured. It's all about speed. In today's trade, it's all about velocity. So we have to ensure. So that for that, if you have to ensure that these systems translate into speed, the capacity building and training of the people is really important. So these are the three things that I identified in when we are developing the system, which we need to take care of while we are developing these systems.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So that was very insightful. In fact, when you spoke about the ports, when it came to capacity building, I do recall that Brief has done a wonderful work with Niti Aayog, and there's a research in regards to that as well. And also when you spoke about uh, trade corridors, there's also work in regards to VBIN. So these are some works that I think everybody should be looking forward to. But thank you so much. It was great having you here. And the insights that you shared were wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Smriti. Thank you so much for having